All right, ready for a deep dive that might just surprise you a bit?
Oh, intrigue me.
We're going exploring the world of tarot,
Okay.
but not in the way you might think.
All right.
This time, it's all about how tarot can be a tool, like actually for
Bro.
autistic adults.
Interesting.
I know it sounds a little unexpected.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It definitely challenges some preconceived notions.
for sure.
We're diving into an article from Cheap ABA,
Okay,
a website dedicated to all things autism.
gotcha.
And this piece really caught our eye, because it argues that tarot can be more than just mysticism. It can be a powerful tool
Uh-huh.
for self-discovery and growth, especially for those on the spectrum.
So, when I think of tarot, I have to admit,
Yeah.
I picture those dimly lit fortune color booths.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
but if we're not talking about seeing the future,
right.
what exactly is the connection we're making to autism?
Well,
What
yeah.
makes it so potentially beneficial?
Modern tarot is less about predicting what's going to happen and more about understanding what's already going on inside of you. It's about introspection, exploring patterns, and gaining insights into your own thoughts and feelings.
Oh,
And the
wow.
way it does that is through symbolism, visual elements, and pattern recognition, all strengths that many autistic individuals possess.
Ah, so it's tapping into those strengths.
Yes.
The article specifically mentioned pattern recognition
Yes.
as a key appeal, right?
Exactly. And think about it. The world can feel overwhelming and chaotic, especially for someone on the spectrum. But tarot, with its clear structure and defined card meanings, offers a sense of order and predictability. Each card, like the Empress or the Tower, represents a specific archetype or energy.
Right.
And learning to recognize those patterns can be incredibly grounding.
Okay, so it's like having a visual framework for understanding complex emotions and experiences,
Yeah.
almost like translating those feelings into a language that makes more sense.
Yes.
And speaking of senses, the article also talked about the sensory experience of tarot.
Absolutely. The feel of the cards, the colors, the imagery, it all adds another layer to the practice. You know how certain textures or movements can be calming or even provide a form of stimming?
Mm.
Imagine finding that same feeling in the velvet box your deck comes in, or the ritual of shuffling the cards. It can be incredibly soothing for some.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about what you see, but how it feels, too.
Yeah.
So we've got the visual appeal, the tactile element.
Right.
But the article also mentioned tarot as both a solitary practice and a potential gateway to community.
Yes.
Now, those seem like kind of opposite things to me. How does that work?
It's a fascinating paradox.
Yeah.
And it actually reflects a lot of the autistic experience. Many autistic individuals value solitude and independent activities.
Mm-hmm.
And tarot can definitely be that, a quiet, personal exploration. But it can also be a bridge to connecting with others who share similar interests. Imagine online forums or groups dedicated to discussing card meanings or personal interpretations. It's a chance to connect with others over a shared passion with less pressure for traditional social interaction.
So it's like finding your people, your tribe, who just get it.
Yeah.
You can dive deep into symbolism and personal growth without the small talk or social expectations that can be so draining.
Exactly.
That actually sounds really appealing even for someone like me who's not on the spectrum.
And that's the beauty of it. It can be a source of comfort and connection for anyone open to exploring its depths. It really highlights how something, ancient like tarot can speak to the modern autistic experience.
Right.
But let's break down those benefits the article mentioned, starting with self-awareness. For someone who might find it hard to put their feelings into words,
Yeah.
how could tarot help with that?
Well, from what I'm gathering, tarot cards, they're full of complex emotions and symbolism, right?
Yes.
So maybe instead of struggling to articulate those feelings verbally,
Right.
the cards provide a visual representation. It's like they give a name and a face to those internal experiences.
Exactly. Think of a card like the Hermit,
Okay.
often depicting a solitary figure seeking wisdom in solitude. For someone who might feel drained by constant social interaction,
Right.
seeing that card could be like a mirror reflecting their own need for space and introspection.
Yeah.
It validates those feelings and offers a new way to understand them.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's not just about like knowing yourself in a vague sense,
Right.
but having these tangible visual representations that resonate with your personal experience. Like, oh, that's what that feeling is. I'm not alone in this.
Precisely. And that ties into another benefit the article highlighted, problem solving.
Okay.
It's not about the cards magically giving you the answers, but about helping you approach challenges from a fresh perspective. Imagine you're feeling overwhelmed by a school project,
Okay.
and you do a simple 3-card spread.
Okay, so a spread, you're talking about arranging the cards in a specific pattern.
Right.
I'm guessing each position has a different meaning.
Think of it like a visual recipe.
Okay.
You might have one card representing the root of the problem,
Okay.
another showing potential actions,
Okay.
and the final card hinting at the outcome.
Okay.
So let's say the first card you draw is the Tower.
Right.
This often represents chaos and upheaval,
Oh.
suggesting the project might be more challenging than you initially thought.
Right.
But the second card is the Chariot,
Okay.
symbolizing willpower and control.
Okay.
This could be encouraging you to take charge, break the problem down into smaller steps, and utilize your strengths.
So even though the tower sounds scary, the chariot is like, hey, you've got this. It's giving you a strategy for tackling the problem. I'm starting to see how this works.
Yeah.
What about the final card?
Let's say you draw the World.
Okay.
This often represents completion and success,
Okay.
but it comes after a journey of challenges and growth.
Right.
It's hinting that if you apply that chariot energy, that focus and determination, you can achieve a positive outcome.
Wow. That's so much more insightful than just like flipping a coin or something.
Right.
You're using the cards to map out the situation and explore different approaches.
Yes.
It's almost like visual brainstorming.
Exactly. And because many autistic individuals think in pictures or patterns,
Right.
this visual approach can be especially helpful. It takes abstract concepts and makes them tangible.
Yeah.
And speaking of finding calm amidst chaos, the article also mentions stress reduction as a benefit.
Right. But I have to admit, I struggle with traditional meditation.
Yeah.
Could shuffling cards really have that calming effect?
You might be surprised. For some, the repetitive motion can be very grounding and meditative. Plus, the focus required to interpret the cards can shift your attention away from anxious thoughts, bringing you into the present moment.
Okay, that makes sense. And the article emphasized how the solitary nature of tarot
Yes.
can be a respite from sensory overload, too.
Yes.
It's like creating your own quiet space to decompress and recharge.
Exactly. It's about finding rituals and practices that work for you. Now, we've talked about how the structure of tarot can be appealing.
Yeah.
But isn't there a risk of getting too fixated on the symbolism, almost like getting lost in the details and losing sight of the bigger picture?
That's an interesting point. It's like anything, you can take it too far.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that apply to any self-exploration practice? It's about finding balance.
Right.
And remembering that tarot is a tool, not a rule book.
Absolutely. It's about using the cards as a springboard for reflection and insight, not as a definitive guide to every decision.
Right.
And that brings us to the last benefit the article highlighted, which we've already touched on, community. You know, I used to think tarot was a pretty solitary thing.
Me too.
Yeah.
But you've painted a different picture, like finding those online communities where you can geek out over card meanings
Yes.
without the pressure of face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
That actually sounds really appealing, even for someone like me. Are there any other ways tarot can foster connection?
Well, think about it. The Lover's card, for example,
That's
isn't just about romantic love. It's often about making choices that align with your true self,
Right.
a struggle many autistic individuals face. Sharing those interpretations with others can lead to profound conversations and deeper understanding.
Wow, so it's not just about the cards themselves, but the conversations they spark. It's like using this shared language of symbolism
Right.
to connect on a deeper level. But with all this information out there about tarot,
Yeah.
it can be overwhelming to know where to start.
Definitely. And that's where the article's advice about starting slow comes in.
Okay.
You don't need to memorize every card, or master complex spreads right away.
Right.
Begin with a few key cards.
Okay.
Maybe ones that visually resonate with you.
So if I'm drawn to the imagery of the star card,
Yes.
maybe because it evokes feelings of hope or peace,
Yeah,
I could start there.
exactly. It's about making it personal.
Okay.
Spend time with that card.
Right.
Journal about its meaning.
Mm-hmm.
See how it speaks to your own experiences. You know, I think a lot of people, whether they're autistic or not, struggle with quieting their minds.
Oh, absolutely. My brain is a constant whirlwind of thoughts.
Well, imagine sitting down with a single card,
Okay.
like the star,
Right.
and really focusing on its details, its colors, the emotions it evokes. It can be like a visual anchor, helping you to quiet that internal noise and connect with a sense of calm.
I love that idea. It's like Mindfulness, but with a visual focus.
Yeah.
That's something I could actually see myself doing.
And remember, there are tons of resources out there to guide you. Don't be afraid to check out books or online communities for beginners. It's about finding what works best for you.
So it's about exploring and experimenting,
Yes.
not feeling pressured to become a tarot expert overnight. This is starting to feel much more approachable than I initially thought.
That's the spirit. It's about finding what resonates with you
Right.
and using it as a tool for self-discovery.
Mm.
And who knows what insights you might uncover along the way.
You know what's really striking me about all of this
Yeah.
is how it challenges those stereotypes about both autism and tarot.
Oh, absolutely. You have
Yeah.
this idea of tarot as being all mystical and woo-woo,
Right.
which might seem at odds with the logical, analytical thinking often associated with autism.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, there's this misconception that autistic folks lack imagination or emotional depth.
Right.
But as we've been discussing, tarot actually taps into all of those things.
Yes.
It's about symbolism, intuition, and exploring your inner world.
It's a perfect example of how diversity can manifest in unexpected ways. Yeah.
And how embracing those differences can lead to amazing insights and growth.
So tarot is not a one-size-fits-all solution,
Oh,
but rather another tool in the toolbox for self-discovery and well-being.
precisely.
Right?
And it's important to remember there are so many other resources and support systems out there.
Of course, of course.
Organizations, communities, therapists,
Right.
they can provide invaluable guidance and understanding.
It's like, don't be afraid to reach out, to connect with others who get it.
Yes.
There's strength in numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and sharing experiences can be so validating.
Absolutely. And remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about reaching a destination, but about embracing the process of learning, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself.
It's about honoring your authentic self,
Yes.
neurodiversity and all. That being said, we've been focusing on individual benefits.
Right.
But could tarot have applications beyond just personal growth? That's a really thought-provoking question. What if we could use tarot to foster understanding and acceptance of neurodiversity in society as a whole?
Okay, now you've really got my attention.
Yeah.
How would that even work?
Imagine using tarot as a framework
Okay.
for exploring different perspectives. Let's say you're trying to explain to someone who's neurotypical why social situations can be so overwhelming.
Right.
Instead of a lecture, you pull out a card like the Hermit.
Gotcha.
They see that image of solitude.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, it clicks.
So it's like using the cards as a visual metaphor,
Yes.
a way to bridge that communication gap.
Exactly. It could help neurotypical individuals step into the shoes of someone on the spectrum, promoting empathy and understanding.
Wow, that's a powerful concept.
Mhm.
It's like you're using this shared language of symbolism
Right.
to create a more inclusive world.
It's about recognizing that diversity in all its forms is what makes our world rich and vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
And tarot, with its emphasis on multiple interpretations and symbolism, could be a powerful tool for celebrating those differences.
I love that idea. Using something ancient like tarot
Yeah.
to create a more inclusive future.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an incredible and deep dive full of unexpected insights.
It has been.
I have to say, I went from skeptical to genuinely intrigued.
We're so glad to hear that. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
And for anyone listening, remember, knowledge is power. The more we learn about ourselves and each other, the better we can create a world that celebrates diversity and embraces the full spectrum of human experience.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
We'll be here to guide you every step of the way.